Hey folks, so I was chatting with my friend Marie Trester the other day, who's here beside me, and she had this hot take for me. Had this hot take, which is that the a person you admire is a key to unlock critical insights about who you are as a professional. So what you admire in other people. Hey, turns out it's a thing that you bring to the world
Yeah,
yourself.
maybe,
That,
maybe. Like
maybe. No,
it's a
no, no. Let's hot
question.
take for sure.
Yeah,
Hot take version.
it's something to ask yourself, right? Like, I really admire the way that this person, you know, uh, at a meeting, they make sure to include everybody's perspective. Like, I really appreciate that about this person. Well, why do you appreciate that about this person? Is that something that you yourself do? Maybe it's something that you yourself value, but all of this is meaningful insight when you're in job search mode, well, or any, thinking about how you show up professionally mode,
Yeah.
the values that you hold and the qualities that you possess and the things that people recognize you for, that's really important information to have.
Yeah. Okay, so I love this, and let me just add context here for people. So Anna Marie and I are competitors. We both
No,
we're colleagues. We
we're
both
peanut
help.
butter and jelly
We're
colleagues.
peanut butter and jelly in the best sourdough you've ever had.
Mm.
Uh, we both help people, often with graduate degrees, but not necessarily in Anna's case, figure out their superpowers,
Yes.
and especially in terms of the job search or figuring out like what direction you want to take your career in. So we are the right people to have a conversation about this. Um, but I was really struck by, the story that you told of being asked to write about somebody that you admired and why. Like that was the
Yeah.
key question, right? Like what was it that you admired in what they were doing, and that was potentially, maybe, definitely clues into, yeah, who you are and what your own superpowers might be.
The qualities that and when you're busy living your life and doing the things, you might not even notice them about yourself.
Yeah.
It's about how you think and how you approach problems and how you but like Reid Hoffman is an example that I talk about a lot.
So who is Reid Hoffman? Who is this person?
He created LinkedIn,
Boo
and many people
hiss.
don't know that he was trained as a linguist. And I can see how, I mean, okay, it was a degree at Stanford called like symbolic systems. So it's not linguistics per se, but they talk about a lot of linguistic concepts. It's about um structures. And anyways, he left academia, but I can see so much of his way of thinking in the design of LinkedIn. It's designed to make you ask for things. Like if you think about it, it's different from Facebook in that way. It's kind of asking for introductions, asking for please help me share this event. Please help me, advertise that I have this article out. It's designed to help you have the kinds of conversations, crucially asks that are key for me. Making a network and building connections, building community is really predicated upon asking for things. You don't think about it because when you feel like it's counterintuitive, if you ask for something, you would think that puts you in a one down position, but actually that's kind of the nuts and bolts of, you think about a neighbor, you ask for a cup of sugar, like that's you start to become friends.
Right. Okay, so you admire this. You
Yeah,
admire
so I
this.
admire that
So,
quality in Reid Hoffman.
yeah, so what does it
So
say about you?
that I care about finding opportunities to connect. Like I will make space for connection and I will do what I can to sort of nudge people to ask one another for things. And like it makes perfect sense why I'm always like I'm always organizing networking events, and often an activity that I love to do is the give and take that Adam Grant popularized. But it's really just a simple formula of, ask for something or say something that you have to share. But it's
Hmm.
in that giving and the taking, that asking and offering, that you
Yeah.
build connection and community. And it's how you I mean, we're people, right? So work is about people, being with
Yeah.
people, engaging with people, interacting with people.
So one of the things I like about this is, okay, this is a roundabout, but I'm getting to the point. In when I work with job seekers, one of the exercises that I have them do, like a series of exercises, is self-reflection and assessment. So, like, what are your skills and what are your
Yeah.
strengths and what do you value? But it's typically like I would frame that typically as something that they have to sit down and do on their own. And
Yeah.
absolutely, there's total like I'm not
Sure.
knocking that. Like, cool, that's a
But it's
way of
hard.
doing it. Yeah, it's
It's
hard,
difficult.
but your intervention here is not that that sucks, but that there is also another way of getting at this same information
Yeah.
by doing what?
So thinking about, so you could just, sometimes I have people just, go on LinkedIn and find three people who like are showing up in a way that you, something about the way they're showing up, you know, jibes with you. Or, you can do it. You and I have talked about, we see offerings where people offer to go in and talk to your community, 15 different perspectives on who you are and what you bring. Other people can see you better often than you can see yourself. And then, of course, I love to work with stories. So I set up a what I call career camp, but really it's just an excuse to get people together listening to one another's stories. And over the course of career camp, you will have heard at least five different stories of the people that are your fellow campers, if you will. And then on the last week, if I ask what's Jen's superpower, think back to the stories that you've heard. Stories, we don't even know that we're doing this when we tell a story, but stories show us doing things in the world that we care, that matter to us, right? There's a reason. I say there's a reason why stories remember themselves to us. If a story is sticking with you, there's a reason. There's something there. So you can ask a group of people. It's much more easy to ask a group of people what's Jen's superpower. Not that Jen can't sit down and self reflect, and I'm sure you would arrive at many of the same insights. But there is also something powerful. I mean, my dad loves to read neuroscience of learning. There probably is something about mirror neurons or something when you see someone else, when you hear your strengths from someone else, there's something powerful about that.
Okay, so let me sum up, pull out some things that people are going to take out of this. So number
Okay.
one is we're not done yet. It's just like I want to pull exercises for people. So one exercise that we talked about, you talked about was, yeah, think about specific individuals who you admire and ask yourself, what is it that you admire about that person and about what they do? Don't overload yourself, but like maybe start with two or three people. What is one thing that you admire about that person and kind of write, a few sentences. That's what I'm imagining,
Mhm.
like as an exercise. A second exercise that folks could do is to go out and ask people that you know and trust, that who feel that who you
They've
feel will
seen you.
be who've,
Yeah.
who've seen you. Yeah, that's a great way of putting it. Um, and maybe ask them, what do you see as my superpower?
Yeah.
Right? And then collect their responses. And this is not a whole social science research exercise, but this is like it's just a conversation where you maybe take some notes. Like,
Statistical significance,
no,
not
no, 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 no,
necessary.
no. There's no regressions. I don't even know what that is. Like, no one's doing that. Like, just keep it on the human level. Um, and then, oh yeah, and then the third exercise was to. It sounded like you were saying one way about this for this third exercise is to tell your own stories with other people listening.
Hmm.
Right? So tell stories about times. So I do this in workshops too, where I have people share times when they felt really engaged or
Yeah.
successful or
Yeah.
energized, like whatever, right? Like to
I'm
tell
sure their
those stories.
superpowers were on display in those
Yeah. And
stories.
then to have other people listen and involve other people in pulling out, okay, what did you notice in those
A friend of
stories? Okay.
mine a friend of mine was telling me recently she was interviewing somebody, and interviews are supposed to or were presumably designed to help you tell these kinds of stories, but they don't always work that way. And she knew that this person she's talking to was really bright, and like she'd heard from so many people that this person was very effective, and but they just weren't coming across in the job interview. So she said, tell me about a time, it's the classic interview question. Tell me about a time when you were encountering this challenge and you solved it using this, and then the story just completely changed. Then this person starts telling a story, and the qualities they just they surface.
Yeah, awesome. How does this connect to, so you mentioned job interviews. So like let's be specific, explicit for folks. How does
Yeah.
knowing about your, we've been saying superpowers,
Yeah. Your strengths,
qualities, strengths. Yeah, we're kind of
gifts.
gifts. Ooh, gifts,
I like talking
talents.
about gifts. Yeah.
How does knowing that stuff relate to your job search?
So I'm a very nutsy boltsy kind of a thinker. So I imagine you're looking at a job ad. You're looking at there's 25 different things this job is asking for. You have a choice. You can focus on, oh, here's 10 things I do not have. Or you can say, there's five that I really have in abundance, right? So I'm going to focus on this. So it's choosing an asset-based perspective that you show up differently in the world when you're, again, I don't know how to measure this quantitatively, but there is a quality. You show up differently when you're approaching from a sense of abundance, right? Like I have this quality. I can see how this quality would. So you'd be, if you're a job seeker, you'd be putting little example stories into your cover letter. You'd be preparing to go to a job interview with, I like to say, a pocket full of stories, knowing what stories demonstrate what. So, yeah, you have to know what qualities you want to be on display before you can decide what stories demonstrate those qualities. So, um, there's a nuts and bolts strategic dimension to this, but there's also the quality of your own spirit. I think academia, it I don't know if people wanted to set it up this way, but it really does teach you to be very, very critical
Yeah.
and feel like you sometimes people end up feeling like they have very little to offer. And if you show up for a job interview or networking interactions from that very understandable place, it's really it's more challenging.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, we could go on and on and on about this. I see this a lot with like the folks that I interact with, PhD job seekers, professors who want to leave academia, postdocs, et cetera, where kind of the first step, the default first step that they might take is go and read some job ads, which
Right.
makes total sense, right? You
Right.
got to, see what's out there in the market, right? Like who's hiring. But yeah, then the consequence of that could be reading like endless lists
Hmm.
of things that you don't have, you
Don't
don't
have.
never done before, words
And
that
you're
you've never even
collecting
heard of.
that little inner critic is just collecting evidence, evidence, evidence,
Yeah.
evidence.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
honestly, it's the opposite. I have What Color Is Your Parachute here because I figured it might come up. This book, at least the most recent editions of it, I can't remember in the 80s and the 90s, was it talking about this? But now, the versions that are coming out nowadays, the first chapter is about we approach the job search absolutely the wrong way. We
Right.
shouldn't start by looking at job ads. I mean, yes, I was talking about engaging with job ads. You do have to engage with job ads at some point.
At some point.
Maybe, maybe not.
Maybe. Maybe.
But what Richard Bowles wants us to do, and what you want us to do, and what I want people to do is to start from a different place. Start from asking, going inward, asking yourself what strengths and gifts and, the Mary Oliver poem, what do I want to use this one precious life to, what am I going to do with this one precious, I have Mary Oliver over there. Um, really, that should be the question. What
Yeah.
are you trying to bring to the world? What makes you, what gives you meaning and purpose?
Okay.
And then if you can start there, you're gonna be approaching job ads differently. You're gonna be approaching job interviews differently. You're gonna be listening differently, I think. That whole shift. I've been talking, I mean, I've been doing this work since 2008, and I've been, as a linguist, there's a term that I like about deixis. So shifting your deictic center. Nobody knows what I'm talking about, but when you can shift the point of view to make it be, what am I bringing? What do I want to bring, as opposed to what do they? So I say, like, you can see this showing up in a cover letter, right? Like, oh, I want this job because it gives me an opportunity to use my French. A shifted center might be, you need my francophone, experience and my cultural knowledge and my language skills in able to help you do XYZ.
Hmm.
So somebody who reads a cover letter like that is going to feel way more reassured. I call cover letters genre of reassurance. People are nervous. They want to make a good hiring decision. If you can convince them, I have your interests at heart. I'm going to bring what I have to help you do the things that you're trying to do.
Yeah.
It's a
It
mindset shift.
really and it really requires like like employers actually will feel better about you if you know yourself, if you know yourself really well. And
Mhm.
it's not selfish to focus on yourself.
Especially if you're approaching it this way. Like, I have the skills that can help you solve the challenges that are
Yeah.
occupying keeping you up at night.
Yeah.
I'm
And
here to help.
your evidence that you have it and your proof, your the way you can demonstrate that is in those stories, whether
Mhm.
you were the originator of the story or you heard it somebody else tell you about you, right? Like that's the proof.
Yeah. I remember, I'll never forget this one story. A guy was um this is a temporary job. He was working at a flower delivery company. His car was unreliable. It broke down for like the umpteenth time. He called his boss. His boss was like, "You're fired. You're unreliable. And the kid decided to walk he just had one last delivery. He walked it to the house that, because in his mind, he was thinking this could be a funeral. This could be, this could, he really felt that sense of responsibility. Somebody had sent this person flowers. He was going to make sure that happened. But I mean, that story tells you everything you need to know about that person.
Yeah.
They are, they think big picture. They're kind. They're able to think about, the other person, the perspective taking.
Yeah.
And,
Right.
he could say in a job interview, I go above and beyond, but like all that stuff just falls flat with
Right. Yeah.
when it sounds like platitudes when you're just listing words.
Right. When you were talking, I was like, "Oh my God, Anna's going to ask me about somebody I admire." And
Yeah.
so I have one actually. I have one. So today we're recording this. It's Wednesday today. So on Sunday evening, I went to a concert downtown. There was a free concert outdoors, Harborfront Center in Toronto, by the water downtown. And there the headliner, I saw two bands. The second band, there was a representative of I forget who she was, but like she was like somebody from Harborfront or whatever the festival was who introduced the headliner. And this woman, she was so good at she really hyped us up. She had everybody stand up and we all did it. We all stood up and welcomed the band and the headliner to the stage. She told us a little bit about the band. So I'm in Canada and we love this shit. It was, this is our, this, it was Rashmeet Kaur was the performer. It was her first time in Canada, right? We learned this. We also learned that she had this backing band that was all Canadian, that, this was their first time performing together. And we were on our feet and we stayed
On her
most of the
side.
crowd. We stayed on our feet, like for the next like 90 minutes or whatever it was. And I was like, oh my God, if that woman at the beginning hadn't hyped us up, I
Yeah.
don't know that, like, maybe some people would have stood at the front because they were super fans, but she really deserves a lot of credit. So anyways, I'm going on and on and on, but the point is, like, I think it's a great question. Like, I love an excellent facilitator, right? I love a hype.
Hmm.
I really
And
get so annoyed by boring people.
well, and conversely, with a great facilitator, she helped remind you who you are and why you're there and why it matters. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it changes everything.
Dang, man, your hot take was correct. So
Yeah.
I guess the question, well, I guess the proof would be, am I a good facilitator? Do I value that? And do I want to be better? Right? Like,
Sure.
did I admire this because I was like, oh, dang, I can learn something from this? Probably.
I'm always in a growth mindset. I think it's a good thing to be
Yeah.
looking for, little reminders. This is something
Right.
I care about. This is something I wanna work on. I want to get better because
Yeah.
it
So
matters.
it's not just like, oh, she's great at that. I admire that. Therefore, I'm great at that. It's not that. It's like, oh, I probably have it in me. I
Hmm.
probably have it in me to be good like that.
Yeah.
What do I want to take from this experience so that I can improve? Because I clearly, as noticing these things in somebody else, clearly these are meaningful things to me. Is that right?
And go back to my friend Reid Hoffman in his book, The Startup of You. Your employer really should care about, if we're talking about work,
Yeah.
they should care what difference you're trying, like what you're trying to build and what difference you're trying to make and help you. That should be their goal, is to figure out how to help you do what you want to do better. And
Yeah.
they should be there watching you and helping, like noticing times when you're doing it, when you're not doing it, and supporting you. And that's what it's supposed to be about. That's what this is
Yeah.
supposed to be
Yeah.
for.
Yeah. And any good employer, a hiring manager wants to get that information from
Right.
you, and they want to
They
hire
should.
somebody that they know they can provide, because if they can't provide it and they know that, they know that you won't stay.
Yeah, right. It's key to engagement. It's key to finding meaning and purpose. It's key to making the differences that you want to make.
Okay, so you've just given people watching some crucial homework.
Yay.
Go write some stories, go collect some stories, and go share some stories.
And pay attention for, yeah, pay attention. There's ways to ask. I love this example from um You're Not Listening. The book is called You're Not Listening. She gives an example. She imagines two colleagues at the water cooler at work, and somebody says, "Oh, I watched a documentary about turtles last night." You have a choice in that moment to say, "Oh, turtles. You're interested in turtles? Tell me more about that." Like, you have a choice to turn that into a moment of,
Hmm.
I don't know if this person has a superpower to do with turtles, but maybe they do. But it's just an example. Be paying attention for moments where you can ask follow-up questions that are like, tell me more about that. Why is that interesting to you? When did you first become interested in turtles? Because so often, and we're not bad for doing this, but I could imagine myself doing this. Somebody says, I watched a documentary about turtles, and I go off on my story about turtles, which is okay. Maybe there's a connection that could be happening here, but you probably are presented with many opportunities in a day to be reflective with people, help people reflect. Maybe you choose to use some of those to help identify these strengths and maybe help somebody think differently about their own strengths. Maybe helps you think differently about your
Yeah.
strengths. We
Love
are
it.
just trying to build, we can choose to build one another up, right?
Love it.
I was just listening to a podcast that was like, why are we here? What's it all about? And these podcast hosts concluded that we are here to walk each other home. That's a Buddhist teaching, but we're here to help one another. We're here to we have an opportunity to show up for one another.
Nice. Anna Marie Trester, thank you so much. Before I end, tell people about your career camp and how they can follow up with
Yeah.
you.
So everything's on my website, careerlinguist.com. Follow me on LinkedIn. I love LinkedIn. You might not be shocked to hear that. Career Linguist. I'm on LinkedIn as Career Linguist. Career Camp is my cornerstone. It is a course that I built based on a book that I wrote called Bringing Linguistics to Work. It does many of the activities that we describe in that book, but really I'm about community and connection. I have a community platform, a mighty network. If you're a linguist and you're working in a world of work that is, I mean, we welcome academics too, but we are specifically wanting to support people who are outside of academia and working as we say career linguists, but trying to maintain your connection to your training as a way to, I think, to kind of remember why you care about language, what that means, what that matters, what that can do. It helps us kind of connect to our purpose.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I will
Thank you,
stick all the
Jen.
links to your things below this video. Thanks, everyone. See you next time.
And you're a great interviewer too.
Oh, I'm leaving that in the video. Okay, bye.
Bye.